I just finished doing Alicia Keys' new album. And it's so funny because even in a situation like that, as professional as it is, the one thing that we have to have is two components. One of them is inspiration. And no matter who you are, you have to be inspired. But the second part of it is motivation. The motivation can be somebody that's, I'm a singer, but I don't have a keyboard player. Without that keyboard player, I could be a great singer, but I can't get it done. Why? The motivation is behind that keyboard. When we hook up together, that's what happens. One of the things that I noticed in playing with this program is it's extremely easy to use. I was extremely intrigued by the fact that all the components are right there. You know, the band, you can put together a band that the orchestration is guitar, bass, drums, congas, you might want to have a Latin feeling, whatever it is. All the components are right there. But more importantly, going back to the original thought is inspiration. I've got a song. Motivation. I don't have any musicians, I don't have any studio, I don't have nothing. I've got a computer.
So, Carlos, tell me a little bit about your background.
Well, I started playing guitar when I was 10 years old. My brother had a guitar sitting up in his room, and of course I used to go in his room and play his guitar and take his records and scratch his records up. Anyway, my father found out and told me, I'll give you the guitar if you promise not to go into his room and scratch his records. Well, I promised, of course. I got the guitar. I still went in his room, but from then on it was just living my dream, just to be able to, I'm a minister's son. So I didn't know it, but that meant taking that guitar and going to church and, you know, accompanying this brothers and sisters when they were singing their song. So it helped me develop my ear. I decided that what I wanted to do was be a musician. My father had given me his blessing in that, so it was okay with my mom. At that time, I was what we call a preppy, a college preparatory program. I went to a college preparatory program, so I was a preppy. And that's where I met one of my best friends, Luther Vandross. We were about 14, 15 years old. Anyway, one day Luther said, hey, they're having auditions at the Apollo Theater. And I'm going to go and audition for this group called Listen My Brother. So
for the young people who might not be familiar with Luther, Luther
Vandross is an R&B singer, the Pavarotti of soul, you know, never too much, and he's a great songwriter. He recently died, and you know, he and I had a 35-year friendship. He introduced me to my wife, Robin Clark, so we go back pretty much. And well, anyway, we found ourselves in the basement of the Apollo Theater auditioning for this group. Luther got into the group. The instructor, he came to me and says, what do you do, son? I play guitar, sir. Well, you can't come down here unless you show me what you got. So the next day I came down with my guitar, showed him what I could do. Boom, I got into the group.
And what was the group?
Listen, My Brother. We were one of the opening acts for Sly and the Family Stone when they came to the Apollo Theater, the first integrated band ever to appear at the all-black Apollo Theater. And we were the opening act, so we were pretty humbled by that.
And you were how old?
I was 15/16. I was the youngest guitar player in the history of the Apollo Theater. Regrettably, the guitar player died in the house band, and I took his seat at the ripe old age of 16, but I didn't have a musician's card. So I didn't belong to the local 802 union, so I was only able to keep that job for about 3 weeks. But then they asked me to play on the amateur hour, and I did. For a kid from the Bronx who steps out of the Apollo Theater, the first thing that I ever write is sandwiched between David Bowie and John Lennon. We had these tracks that we had done on tour called Foot Stomping by Lou Reed. But he didn't like that song, so David Bowie cut it up into little bits by using little segments of it and then taking the segments and putting them in different order. And in doing that, he was able to get a regular kind of blues orchestration out of it by altering the arrangement. You know, you grab a little piece, move it around, etc., etc. I mean, they do that now by just grabbing, boom, grang, boom, and like, if we knew how to do that then, we would have been.
Well, that's how our software is based.
Well, you're totally ahead of the game, because basically what you want to be able to do is grab the best parts, cut the fat, boom, 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 boom.
What has been your greatest claim to fame?
Writing fame.
Literally.
In 1974, one of the main ingredients told me that they were having a session at RCA Studio for this new producer called David Bowie. Now, I didn't know who David Bowie was, but I did know who Lulu was, and that's who he was producing. I had seen this movie called To Sir With Love. So I knew who Lulu was. I wanted to meet Lulu. Little did I know, Lulu wasn't at the session. It was just the music. Anyway, but this guy, David Bowie, comes out, 98 pounds, totally white with red hair. And I was like, whoa, you are weird. Anyway, we got together with him. He came over to my house. We hung out. Next thing I know, he's asking me to go on the road with him. I was 22 years old.
So what's next for you? What inspires you now?
Well, I get inspired from a lot of things. I get inspired from, like I'm speaking to Reese about suicide prevention. And so in doing that, I'm inspired to just try to write some type of theme song, some type of anthem. Inspiration without motivation, and motivation takes a vehicle. So sometimes you have to have the means to get that inspiration on a track, sometimes it's just talking into a tape recorder. Sometimes it's just, going home, maybe having a little home studio where you can throw some things together and get it out of your head. Why? As a songwriter, I hear a little melody. If I don't find a home for that melody's going to be haunting me for the rest of my day. It'll try to find itself into any song that I write. I have to find a home. Why?
So they literally just, you start to think things up and you can like hear it in your head.
Yes. And
then we have to go downstairs and I have to show you something.
All right.
Let's go do that and we'll continue this.
All right.
So think about, what would you say is the average cost for someone to go into the studio to record, a single and, or an album? I mean, let's like look at the cost when you think about the time and the expense versus, getting somebody started on their PC. It's not going to be, as professional sound quality, but it gets you started when you want to have that sound in your head and lay something down.
Going into the studio can start at $5,000, and if you have a producer like me, it jumps at $50,000. That's another story altogether. But what I mean to say is that all the information that a producer has in his head can be found in a good program. All the orchestrations that a musician is able to give you can be found in a good program. So you're not at a loss if you're able to find the program. Programs such as this are important because not only does it inspire you, but it also motivates you to continue to write. And that's what music is all about. It's not as good, a song is great, but the hit song might not be song number 1. The hit song might be song number 5. So in order for you to get there, get to writing. You be inspired, be motivated, and get the songs down so you can move on. The real music producer is becoming extinct because it's cost. In order for you to get a producer, the producer is going to come with an arsenal of years and years of understanding the difference between a compressor and a limiter. How to mic a drum so you have perfect sound. How to get the perfect guitar sound. Well, all of these things are all well and good if you can afford the $50,000 producer that comes with all that information. But if you find yourself with a good program, such as the music producer program, you find that all that is inherently found in the program. Thus, it eliminates all the need for you to have to know what a limiter is or what a compressor is. But it's not to say you shouldn't know that one day. But in order to get started, again, the motivation is there so that you can be inspired. Once you write your first few songs with the program, you know what, if you want to then go and study, that's great.
So can you sing a little bit of the Fame song for us?
Fame, think, what you want is in the limo. Fame, what you get is no tomorrow. Fame.
All right.
Yeah.